Jam on toast!
Hey everybody, we're here today to talk about Who Framed Roger Rabbit. This is a Defranco Movie Club review, so let's get to it. In a world where cartoons live alongside regular people, P.I. Eddie Valiant gets put onto an investigation on behalf of a movie studio. This leads into a murder investigation centered on Roger Rabbit, cartoon star. My love for this one's got to be the point where he's about to go into Two-Town and he just pours out the bourbon. He realizes it's no good for him and that it's been holding him back for quite some time. And that kind of meets with my own alcohol stance. So, surprisingly, there's very little to hate in this movie, but when he goes through that tunnel and that onslaught of colors happen, I wanted to cry myself back to sleep. The MVP for this movie, Christopher Lloyd. Now you can make an argument that Eddie Valiant carries the movie because you're following him the whole time, and yes, he's the protagonist, yay. But any great struggle is made by the villain, not the hero. Heroes are very standard, they either stand for good and they do what's right, or they end up doing good by non-conventional methods by being the bad guy, called an anti-hero. But villains are varied, and for this movie, Christopher Lloyd's just on it. On to the categories. Aesthetics. They did an excellent job integrating the tunes and the people. And if you look at that first scene with Jessica Rabbit where she comes out and she's walking to the bar, they did an amazing job on the lighting. And even if it was just that one scene where that happens, it was a wonder to see it, and imagine all the hard work those people put into that. Aesthetics gets a 90. Character development. They give us plenty of character development with Eddie Valiant, even Jessica Rabbit, even Roger Rabbit, even the girl at the bar, and we're constantly learning new things about people, even Christopher Lloyd's character. What we don't get is the background of the world we're in, and I would argue that the city itself, or at least the world where tunes are real people, supposedly, is worthy of some backstory that we never get. So this movie will leave me wanting, if only in that regard. Character development gets an 80. Storyline. I think this was a great idea for a story. It didn't even require all the nice franchise matchups that we did. Even if they were all independent or newly created characters for this show, this was a good idea for a movie, and I really hope to see that they do a modernization sometime in the future, but I have no idea how anyone would approach that at this point. Storyline gets an 85. Compulsion. I remember loving this movie when I was younger, and I don't know why. As far as a great mystery drama goes, it's on it. And don't get me wrong, it's a good movie, but I laughed out loud once, and that was towards the end. I don't know what happened between when I was a kid and now, but I just don't appreciate all the cartoon violence for humor. Violence is not a good delivery system for humor to me, and I'm actually kind of appalled at all the cartoons I watched growing up. Compulsion gets a 70. Now, if we total all that up, we get an average of 81.25. There are so many wonderful social discussions that could happen from this movie, and because I'm a little under the weather this weekend, I don't have the energy to go into them. But just for record, we have public service versus private industry. The odd part about this is that the hero is on the side for the public transfer, the socialism side, whereas the villain is the one shooting for capitalism. Civil rights. The tunes are not represented as real people. No one cares that they're getting killed because they're not being treated like real people. Honestly, it made me want to go watch Greg the Bunny or even the Muppets and watch some fabricated American type stuff. The last subject I'm really not going to touch on that much is the expectations of men versus women. There's 3 lines that stand out in the entire movie to me, and that's, I'm not bad, I'm just drawn this way. And Eddie Valiant asks Jessica Rabbit, what do you see in this guy? He makes me laugh. So many angles and discussions you can have about sexism and expectations. So for my wrap-up review, while it was absolutely wonderful to see franchises mix it up like this, today we can't even get Spider-Man in the Avengers movie, even though they're mostly in the same city and honestly part of the same franchise eventually. And why I don't think I'll be watching it again, I'd recommend everybody see this movie at least once. I think it's time I go lay down. I'm Cameron. Have a nice day.